What's up, everybody? This is Carmine Davis, and you are watching and listening to the Carmine Davis Show. Like, what the fuck is up, bitch? Happy Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I know I've been MIA since the holidays. I promised a Christmas episode. I promised all kinds of shit, but like every other nigga in your life, child, I lied. So I was busy enjoying myself, honey. This was one of the best Christmases or New Year's Eves, New Year's that I've ever had. Like, it was amazing. I had a lot of fun. My mom came for Christmas. Southwest, count your motherfucking days, because y'all, my mama almost didn't get home. I'm on y'all's motherfucking ass because my mom swears by Southwest, right? And I fly Delta. I only really fly Delta. The only other times that I've ever flown anywhere else was by accident, or I was with people who fly with whomever. I only do Delta, and I wanted to get my mom a flight here through Delta, but she only does Southwest. So getting here wasn't a problem, but I kept hearing about how Southwest was having cancellations. I was like, not my mama, not our house, not the God we serve. But the night when she was supposed to leave, which was like Monday night, like the day after Christmas, she's up, she's early, she got an early flight out, and she gets up and checks her ticket, canceled. No text message, no phone call, no nothing, bitch. So we're trying to figure out what's going on, and then they reschedule her flight for that night. Canceled. That flight was canceled. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I Google it. They're canceling everybody left to right. So Tuesday comes around, nothing. So I just went ahead and we just got her a ticket through Delta to go home that day. Because one, I love my mama, but my space, I have not lived with my mom in 10 something years. Like, I was a teenager when I stopped living with my mom. Long story for another video, but I have not lived home with my mother in such a long time, and I've created my own space, my own house, my own life. The way I do things are completely different than how I do things at home, or how we used to do things growing up. My mama coming in here moving stuff, changing things around, and I get making yourself comfortable, but my mama was just moving shit, plugging, unplugging shit. I love you to death, girl, but two bitches in the house, and it's three of us. I got Pink and Luna, my dogs. Like, it's four bitches in this house. One of us gotta go, but I love you if you're listening. I didn't want to tell you, I love you forever, but it was time for her to go. So we had to pay what we had to pay, but I still need my money. Southwest, I need it immediately. I switched my shit back on my card. But we're gonna keep going. This ain't about Southwest. Just know I'm putting y'all on notice. This show is gonna be different than the shows that we did previously. I promised you guys that we would talk about the Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez court, the saga in court. And like, I planned on doing it like how I've done previous sagas before with FUBU and Seems Like You're Ready, where I kind of gave you guys a weekly play-by-play about what was going on during the trial. But as you knew, the trial happened in Christmas, like around the time when I was on holiday. So I missed all of that, but it was crazy. So much to catch up on, and I want to talk about that, but I'm going to do it differently this time. And I want to start by saying this show is my opinion. As usual, it's the Carmine Davis Show. I don't know why I feel like I have to say that, but something in my spirit is wanting me to tell you guys this is my show, my opinion. I'm coming at it factually because I don't really know how y'all thought that Tory didn't do it. I'm not totally sure how y'all didn't think he did it. I'm not sure. I don't know what y'all were thinking, but Tory did it, okay? And I've said it from the beginning. You can go back and listen to a previous podcast where I touch on it. And it's now the verdict came out that he is guilty of all 3 charges, right? But I want to talk about something that, what do I want to say? Like, that really disturbs me about the situation, and it kind of hit home to me. I hate to sound like a narcissist, or this Megan Thee Stallion trial kind of hit home to me a lot, because before this pandemic, and actually prior to the Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez incident, or, you know, the assault, let's call it what it is. Tory Lanez assaulted Megan Thee Stallion, shot her, could have killed her. You know, we wouldn't have the Stallion still riding. I was in a similar kind of lifestyle. I'm not the person that I was pre-pandemic. I think all of us could speak and say similar, you know, but I was kind of out there with a bunch of people who I feel, no offense, I love everybody. I don't have any hard feelings towards anybody who I once rode with or who I once dealt with. But I was in a situation where I was around people who I feel in my heart of hearts would have hurt me or tried to kill me, and a certain extent out of a sense of what they might not have called jealousy, or they didn't see it that way. I was around people in a similar situation where I was around a friend and we kept butting heads. Like, we kept getting ourselves in situations where I think I would not, from a third party, like a bird's eye view looking in, it was a toxic friendship, definitely. But I think I want to choose my words carefully, because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or speak ill over someone who I love. And I feel like I've done that in the past unintentionally, just speaking my truth. This is the disclaimer, because I'm going to continue to speak my truth. I'm probably going to offend people, and that's what the show is about. I'm probably going to hurt that particular person's feelings, or make that person, it might come across like I'm maligning that person, but I'm not. I'm speaking from someone who was in a situation, who is looking at it from a healed place and a healed perspective. And I feel like we were in a place of, I truly feel that I was the Megan in the situation to a Kelsey, or whatever her name is, you know, where I was in a situation with a friend who might not have had the same kind of similar situation set up, or lifestyle, or opportunities that this person had, and I feel like it caused tension between us. We were friends who we've known each other for a very long time, extremely long time. We have grown up together, and that friend, I feel as though, I personally feel like that friend did not want me to be happy and to succeed. And I feel like that person did not see me as someone who was deserving of those things, or maybe probably deserving of those things, but not more than that person, not more than that they were, or they didn't really understand why I was blessed with certain material things and they weren't. And I would ask the same thing. You know, I would be like, you know, I didn't understand why things were happening for me, or things were, doors were opening up for me that weren't opening for that particular person. And I cared for that person and I wanted them to succeed. However, in their point of view, that was my point of view. From what I've gathered, piecing things together, I was the maybe anti-hero in their viewpoint. Like, if there was a movie based off of me from that person's point of view, I would have been the Regina George of the situation. And I have been called that multiple times since the movie premiere. It's all gonna piece together in a minute. I just want to give you this introduction and bring it all around, okay? Regina George. I've been called that a lot in my life since the movie came out. What was it, 2014 or what was it? No, it was 2004. Yeah, 2004 when that movie came out. And I have been called Regina George. I've been, you know, and I actually wore that with a badge of honor now. You know, you see on all my socials or anything like that, you'll see the Regina George handle or the Regina George, you know, avatar or whatever. And because I feel like when I go back and I look at that movie, I relate to Regina George and I relate to Megan Thee Stallion, because on the outside looking in from a common perspective, a lot of times people look at you as the bad guy in their story, right? Because you have excess or because you don't necessarily carry yourself the same way they carry themselves, or you're not concerned with the same things they're concerned about or what common people are concerned about, or everyday people, excuse me, I don't want to say common, everyday people are concerned about. You tend to be more warm-blooded, right? And I feel like the reason why I want to do this video is because I feel like it also relates to a lot of people as well. When you're warm-blooded and you tend to kind of operate in a different way, like always kind of focused on what's right for you. And especially when you're younger, especially when I was younger, I felt like I was I would say I was careless sometimes with my words. I didn't really think of hurting someone's feelings because that was not a concern of mine. Not in the sense of I didn't care what people felt. I was just more concerned about how I felt. We didn't have much growing up. So I knew in order for me to get what I wanted, I had to be larger than life. I had to say what I wanted to say to get what I wanted, or to be able to be able to get where I wanted to get. I had to have a personality that was sometimes headstrong. And in that time, I probably hurt some people's feelings, you know? But it was never my intention. It was just never a thought. And there are a lot of people out there who are like that. Or, perfect example, there are times when people like me, I've learned that a lot of people around me feel like it's easier to attack me. I don't know if it's because people think that, you know, I have it easy, so it's out, or I'm tough, so you can just say whatever you want. I'm tall, I'm bigger, you know, I'm darker skinned, you know, you should be tougher, or maybe even the way I even speak or carry myself, people tend to look at me as someone who can handle a lot more emotionally. I could take the bullying, the punch on the chin, or the, you know, the threats or the shoving or the pushing. I've been even in the workplace. People have called me a gentle giant all my life. I'm not a violent person. I'm not someone who could hurt anybody. I've never even thought to intentionally hurt anyone, but I am powerful. In a way, you might be bigger, stronger, grander than everybody else, but that doesn't mean you're not a person. So times people tend to say certain things and they think it's funny, or make little jokes, or everybody else it's okay for everybody to be emotional because they don't handle stress like you, or they don't have access to the same things you do, or you have $20 and they have $10, so it's okay for them to be upset. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's always an excuse as to why people can treat you a certain way. So when you do retaliate, sometimes your bite is more penetrating. Sometimes your bark is louder. You know, I'm a very intellectual person. I'm very quick-witted. I'm witty. I'm very strong with my words. But in reality, people don't ever remember what they did to me, or even care about what I was going through at the time. Maybe I wasn't in a situation where I wanted to hear you talk shit about me. Maybe you talking to the nigga that I liked bothered me, and I didn't know it at the time. But why would you even want to? You get what I'm saying? So, back to Megan. One thing I've noticed about the Megan Thee Stallion situation, and even when it came to her best friend, Kelsey, I saw similarities, and I feel like a lot of people at home can relate to this. One way, whether you were the Kelsey in your friendship, a lot of people are majority of the Kelsey in their friendship. When you were one way with a friend, that particular friend kind of changed, right? Or became popular, or, you know, did all these things, and you started feeling a certain way about their movements, the way they moved, the way they talked to you all of a sudden, the things that they did, whether it was, okay, now that they're that hot girl, so they're just running through men, or they feel like they can take your man, you know, they're dressing better than you, they're wearing Louis Vuitton, and you're still wearing Pretty Little Things, you know, or, you know, but when, back in the day, y'all slept on the couch together. You know what I'm saying? So it does create a certain amount of tension, especially when that particular friend might be more grandiose, more warm-blooded, where they don't feel the need to come and coddle you and check in with you as their friend, or they're not concerned about how you feel about what they're doing to become successful or how they're living their lives. They're living their best lives. They're not concerned if you are upset or not. Sort of like Regina George, you know, who when I look back on that movie, I still to this day do not understand why those girls treated her the way they treated her. And we're gonna go to that. That's what this show is about. This is a ode to the quote unquote mean girls who really don't have ill intention. You're just a bad bitch out here living your life, telling it like it is, not too concerned with the bitches around you. And that's why you'll always win, but it will always cause friction between people, and they will want to hurt you. They will want to take you down. They will want to malign you. You're the mean girl. You're the bitch. Think about it. It's this tale as old as time. You look at some of the greatest people in the world, there's a flip side to their stories. There are friends out there who say how horrible they are, how nasty they are, family members. That's what I want to talk about. This is the ode to all the quote unquote mean girls out there. That was a long introduction. But I noticed that they want to always, with Megan Thee Stallion, there's this idea and this concept that she was out here just because she was popping her pussy, she was fucking this nigga, she was fucking that nigga, she fucked Tory, she fucked this, that, and the third. She was rich, she was braggadocious, her attitude, she was drunk all the time. She was all these things that somehow that meant that she was the mean girl in the story. She hurt Tory, she hurt Kelsey, so therefore it was okay for her to be shot. God damn it on that! How is that a thing? Right? Who don't want to fuck the baddest rappers in the world? Who don't want to? Who does not want to don the baddest designer clothes? Who does not want to do the songs of Beyonce and have hit songs? Or who doesn't want to live this life? Who doesn't? That doesn't mean that she is not upset or sad, or she lost her mother, you know, she lost her, you know, father, all these things, and now she lost her best friend. And because she was ambitious and she didn't come and coddle you or push you to the forefront as well. And who's to say that you, if given the same opportunity, would have done the same thing? But because she's warm-blooded and she's doing the things that appeal to her, why is there this groupthink mentality that those are the people who are bad, ill-intentioned, or ill-intended, when they don't have any intention of doing anything but to take care of themselves or to do for them? Why does that mean that they're out to hurt you? Now, I don't know much details about Kelsey and Megan Thee Stallion's relationship. It feels like all of their issues were bullshit, right? Conversations that didn't happen that should have happened, right? Going on with the emotions, going through things, just not stop, like things happening really fast and never really checking on each other. People are hurting each other. Megan was a hurt person. One, you know, we need to understand that. And Kelsey was hurt. Two, we need to understand that. Let's take it to the mean girls, right? And I have my bullet points. I'm not just on a tangent here. I want to talk about Regina George. And I remember distinctly throughout the movie, one thing I noticed is that there have been a few times where I felt like her wheels were turning. She might have snipped, she might have snapped, but she never attacked them until she was embarrassed, bullied, damn near poisoned. You know, like, we have to be real about what happened here. And Regina George is a fictional character, but she represents the mentality of where people tend to look at people who are pretty, popular, or having things that most people want to attain. And her lack of concern, her, hey, how are you? Are you okay? Like, hey, I know everybody's here to see me, but how are you doing? Are you okay? Oh, I know Aaron Samuels likes me, but I know I'm gonna give him to you. No, bitch. Like, that's not the real world. You know what I mean? What about what the fuck Regina had going on? She's a fictional character and a figurehead for that type of person. And it's easy to say mean girl. But the movie was called Mean Girls. And that's my point. Where it's easy to make Regina George, when you think of the mean girl, you see Regina George, but all those bitches were horrible. And I want to start with her status, right? And I'm going to compare it to 3 different bad bitches that I know. Myself, Megan Thee Stallion, and Regina George. Fictional, one's a fictional, one's a celebrity, one is me, right? So through this, I'm going to go in and out. Status. Regina George came from a rich family, right? A wealthy family. Her house spread over acres. She had the best car, best hair, best clothes. Megan Thee Stallion, she was that girl, sexy, seemingly on top of the world. She had a hit song with Beyonce, our #1. She was winning Grammys, buzz, TikTok, all these things. Me, I came from nothing, right? And so I started to work really, really, really hard. I moved to Georgia, I went to school, I did the whole thing, and I worked really hard. Any job, 3 or 4 jobs at a time, and I did all those things to be able to have the little that I have, right? But some people would say it's a lot. Those things in that time, like, you go back to Regina, you go and what you knew about Regina was that she had a fatherless home. Her mother was clearly unemotional. She wasn't emotionally available. She was trying to be cool. Fake titties, distant, bringing a drink, alcoholic beverage, or offering alcohol beverages to her friends and then disappearing, right? This big ass house, and there was no father around, nobody around. Regina spent most of her time on herself. You know what I'm saying? In her own world. Literally, the only time she ever really spent was with these 2 girls, Gretchen and Karen. And whether you want to, she probably didn't love them the way that they felt like she needed to love them, or she felt like they needed to love them, but she was honestly welcoming them into her world. They were letterboard. They knew things about her, so therefore she was open to them. She was vulnerable to them, which we'll get back to. And therefore she, in her mind, had a relationship with them despite her status, the things that she had. She offered it to them. She shared it to them. They were all in her house. They were riding her car. Get in, loser. We're going shopping. We're doing these things together. So it wasn't like she was gatekeeping her success. You take Megan Thee Stallion. She had Kelsey everywhere she went. She had her as her assistant. They went everywhere together. She bought her, she even said it multiple times in song, how she gave her money, gave her clothes, gave her things. My friend, that similar situation happened with me. I started to be able to afford a little Louis Vuitton or little Gucci shit. And when things got rough, I would help my friend. I was there financially with them. Do I feel like that was returned? No. But I wasn't in the situation to have always received that. And anytime that was, anything that happened, I gave it right back. So people tend to dislike people. It's easy to malign people who have status, right? Money, cars, because a lot of people don't have it. It seems like when the world seems to just tell people yes, and you get a few more no's, it's easy to hate people who get them because you assume that they're, like nobody, if you have a full plate, right? If I had a full Thanksgiving 4-course meal on my fucking plate, the bitch that got a bologna sandwich is, of course, is gonna scoff. But who is in the wrong? We're both eating. You want what's on my plate, I'm not giving a fuck about what's on your plate. It'd be different if I went over and ate the bologna sandwich out your fucking hand. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially if I'm splitting the plate with you. what difference does it make who offered it to me, or the fact that it was offered to me and it wasn't offered to you? What difference does it make? So therefore, there's already, boom, a flag on the play with this. People have to learn to not be envious. People have to learn to not covet what their friends have. If you envy or look at what your friend has and you are envious of them, you are the mean girl. We're not supposed to envy what our friends have, especially a friend who is not concerned about what you have or willing to share it with you. Do you get what I'm saying? I want to keep going. Hey y'all, because of timing, I want to break this podcast into 2 parts. So stay tuned for part 2 or click the link below to watch it now.